So I'm holding on to one of these. This is new. Wow. So I made a promise a little while back that I would speak today about spiritual tools for stress-free holidays. I would imagine that every one of you has probably seen an article in a magazine or a news piece somewhere addressing that topic. Am I right? Yeah. And the interesting thing is, Thanksgiving is pretty easy. Eat and be grateful. And yes, you do get to contemplate who you're going to spend the day with, right? So there's a little bit of that, the beginning of that iceberg, the holiday iceberg, of what might be an invitation to be stressed out. Because it involves one of the things that I'm going to talk about, which is relationships. But it's such an easy entry into all the rest. And the fact is that most of us by now have taken on some ideas that we might even be a little bit set in as to what the holidays are about. And so what we have this sort of like this sarcastic grin, and we commiserate a little bit with our friends saying, oh, I can't believe it's already time. And perhaps this somewhat unconscious, but slightly conscious anticipation of some stress. So there are a couple of areas that are very common. And of course, again, if you look on the internet, people will tell you there are 9 or 7 or 5 or 12 or whatever. And these are the ones that came to mind when I contemplated this. How many of us imagine that the first difficulty in moving into the holidays is going to have to do with time, right? Oh my goodness, how will I have enough time to do everything involved in this situation or this scenario that we call the holidays? The other one is resources. There's everything from gift giving to decorations, to feasts, to travel. All of these things that involve a greater output in addition to the time that they involve. And then, of course, there are relationships. Like I said, you might have a pretty comfortable anticipation of how you're choosing to spend Thanksgiving. And then as we tiptoe into December and other opportunities to celebrate and to recognize holiness and to discover and share some joy, we may find that we have beliefs that are rooted in our past experiences about relationships with those people that make it a little challenging to think, oh, this is going to be great. Every one of these is an opportunity to reflect and to make some new choices. And the holidays bring those choices right up to the forefront. So relationships may involve in-laws, siblings. They may involve the way that you turn into somebody else when you're around your kids, your parents, as the case may be. That person that you no longer are the rest of the year, but when you all get together, it's like who you are today goes out the window and the old script is at your seat at the table. It's with you in the kitchen, it's with you in the yard or the living room, and things get interesting. And people write books about that, right? And they make great funny movies about it. So there's some anticipation about relationships as being a possible area of stress during the holidays. The last one is very common as well, because some of us early in our lives were surrounded by a lot of people, right? In sociology class, they say that the matriarch in every family is the one who makes sure that people get together and get connected and stay connected. But what happens when those matriarchs pass on? What happens when also life circumstances change? What happens when our partners and spouses pass on? What happens when our relationships shift? What happens when our children get jobs and move away? all of us have opportunities to recognize that we're not as surrounded by other people as we might like to be. And how about Ebenezer Scrooge? What did he do? He just realized that according to his original point of view, it was all a bunch of bunk, and what we really should do is just work harder. To heck with all of that. And he had his visitations in the middle of the night. This is the Christmas story, but of Christmas past, present, and future. And he had an awakening. And he went from bah humbug to, isn't this wonderful? Something in him thawed. Something in him opened up again and began to express. And that was the presence of the love and the truth of who he was in this story. So each of us, as we step into the holidays, the first one's easy, it's coming right up. And to all of the rest that we choose to participate in, by whatever means, in whatever way, we have an opportunity for our own awakening. And we don't have to wait until we're visited by anybody in the middle of the night. We can make a choice. So here's what happens next then. My promise is that here, the kind of spiritual tools that we offer, the things that we tap into when we practice them, will be a help with those other aspects. And anything else that brings stress into your experience this holiday season or any day. So the first of them is communion. The second is clarity. The third is choice. And the fourth is commitment. I know commitment's a big word, but guess what? It's to you this time. So we begin with communion. And think about this idea that when we start from within, when we begin from within, what happens? What happens if we begin from within? If we're willing to take some time out, no matter what appears to be going on that looks like less time than ever. If we're willing to take some time away, even though what appears to be happening is that people are coming to visit, or I've got to get ready to go visit someone. If we're willing to take some time out, even though it appears that we're going to have to reconcile ourselves with some relationship ideas that are bubbling up. If we're willing to take some time out, even though it appears that we don't have anybody to spend the holidays with, or the people that we would like to connect with are going on a cruise or something without us, or whatever it is, what we will find is a whole set of gifts that will make the holidays joyful. And the first one involves communion. In order to get together with others in joy, it is suggested that we first get together with the I am principle, with the Spirit within, that which we are and that which knows us. One thing. I posted a quote the other day that we are not all of the things that we think about, but the one who witnesses those thoughts. So the first tool is spiritual communion. It's to take some time apart in stillness and check into that place of no thingness, infinite possibility. No choices or selections have yet been made. Total openness, receptivity. And the second one is to be open, therefore, to the clarity which comes. The clarity which comes, which says in you, as the truth of you, this is my vision for holy days. This is my idea of celebration. This is what brings me joy. And what follows then is the ease with which we can identify and choose, make a choice, what we will therefore do, where we will go, with whom we will visit, what we will observe and participate in, what we will bless and release, what we will embrace, how we will show up, what will we make important and value, and who we will be during the holidays. And then we commit to that. You see, that is a commitment by first going within and allowing the clarity to arise, then giving ourselves permission to choose that. That is a commitment, not just to yourself. I'm going to take care of me this time. I'm going to show up as me. What happens then is that is an easy commitment to make. It's on solid ground. It feels so right. And plus you'll be filled up with a sense of power, of purpose, a vision for joy and celebration and holiness that allows you to say no with so much grace. It allows you to say, I love you and I'm going over here. That allows you to say, you know what? I think both of us don't have anybody else to spend a holiday with. What do you say? Wouldn't it be wonderful to make our home? It allows you to invite yourself where you want to be, or create something for other people who are in a similar situation. You see? And so this level of commitment is wonderful. There's nothing obligatory about it. It is holy. It is celebratory. It is supportive of joy. And so this is what I believe is the outcome of the willingness to commune, to access clarity, to make choices that align with that, and to commit to ourselves in this way. This is what happens to time and resources and relationships and those of us who thought we had no one to connect with. We have plenty of time. And why is that? Plenty of time because what? We got clear. We didn't just say, I'm going to grit my teeth, buckle down, and try to be everywhere at once. Because that is the unconscious belief of, I don't have any choice. How many of us have walked in those shoes? How many of us know people who try and struggle to operate from, I don't have any choice? So we recognize that when we allow ourselves to be clear, we do have time. We have time for who we're supposed to be, where, how, when, with whom, and in what way. Spirit always provides, the universe provides more than enough of that. And we get to choose. Choice is our freedom, choice is our power. And so we look at ample resources. We look at resources in a different way and we say, once again, because I didn't try to be everywhere, and I didn't try to be everyone, and I didn't try to do everything all by myself, I discovered that I have the perfect amount of resources to fulfill this vision of what it means to have a happy, healthy holiday season. It may be money, absolutely. And it may be decorations. It may be travel funds. It may be, it doesn't matter. Because what happens is when we get that clarity, when we align with the truth of all that is for us, as us, the deal is that everything that we need in every moment is right there at the same time that we have the vision, the intuition, the desire. It's right there. And we'll be able to see it. We'll be able to recognize it. We'll be open to say yes and thank you. People get free plane tickets all the time. People get invitations all the time. People collaborate and say, I'll bring this and you bring that and we'll have a great party. Right? And so, healthy relationships. Healthy relationships. We have just agreed that what we will do in this holy process, before we step any further into what lies ahead, is that we will choose from the heart, from the spirit, from the authenticity of who we truly are. And what that means is that we won't dishonestly, in a way that is a disservice, say yes when we mean no. And we will also not deny a desire to be with or be somewhere where we're called. We'll say yes. And so those choices with regard to relationships will be authentic. They will be healthy. We will be fully present. What a gift. And we will then avail ourselves of the opportunity to connect and to commune in ways that we have no idea yet how beautifully they will unfold. But we have prepared our way through our spiritual practice to have a wonderful experience of all of our relationships. I know that in my willingness to do this, I have discovered ways to be in healthy relationship with relatives I only see once in a very great while. That's because I understand and accept that we don't all have the same values. So guess what? We don't have the same priorities. We don't have the same needs. And that's okay. It can even be beautiful. When I accept that, I can enjoy, I can celebrate the things that we do have in common and make a choice to be present in that way. And so the last one, the being with others one, also says that when we let ourselves commune with the truth of all that is, and how that shows up in our hearts, in the heart of who we are, as this I am, this witness, this one that is one with the one and has never even dreamt of separation for a moment. We know precisely where to be. And we are not alone. The idea of being alone is just not part of that picture. And so we end up connecting and reconnecting. We make new connections. We come together with people of like heart and mind in ways that are cause for celebration, that are holy, and most definitely bring us joy. So what I invite you to do as we step into this holiday season is to ask yourself, well, let's see if I can go back and do, I can. Wow. Send yourself an invitation first. From the spirit of you, from the I am principle of you, from the highest of you, to commune, to get clear, to make choices, and to commit to the most authentic and holy, celebratory, and joyous holiday season ever. And know that in doing that, you will not only give yourself a gift, you will give the greatest gift that you could ever give to anyone, ever. And so it is.